kind of like to think it gives people hope.
For what?
Maybe eventually everything's gonna be all right.
Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man has had a huge impact on my life. And when I think about how to describe it and the way that he's inspired me, there's one word that comes to mind, and that's hope. Now, the theme of hope is not an uncommon thing with superheroes. We see it all the time in movies, shows, etc. It's a very common theme. But with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, I think that what really stands out with regards to that is the way that it's executed. And it really had such a genuine deep impact on me in my life because the way that the story was told and the way that it resonated with me and connected with me in my own experience. So to share a little bit about that, I'm going to look at basically the last scene of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, that movie's had a lot of poor reviews, but I think that last scene is, for me personally, one of the most impactful that I've seen in any media, and I think that it's really powerful and really exceptional. And again, it has everything to do with hope. So we listen to Gwen Stacy's speech after she's killed by the Green Goblin, and Peter's in a really low place. He's shown to be grieving for months, visiting the cemetery of Gwen, and he's not Spider-Man anymore. He's in a really low place, and for me, it's hard to see that because I've been in that place too. Now, obviously, our situations may be different, but I could certainly relate to what I was seeing on the screen, and that was important to me in some of the lowest times that I've been through. So to share a little bit from my experience and how this connects to the final scene, I experienced a pretty bad concussion from a whiplash injury several years ago from playing basketball. I jumped, someone pulled my arm back, and I landed on my back and my head kind of whiplashed back towards the ground. And really, it's been a struggle ever since then. I've been struggling with the trauma of that incident ever since then, in ways that is often hard to explain and for other people to understand. And it's really hard to believe that it's had such a long-lasting impact on me. I'm constantly feeling like I'm in fight or flight mode. I'm very it's hard for me to feel safe at times. In combination with these challenges that I've had over the last couple of years, I've also lost both of my grandparents who I was very close with and were big sources of safety and comfort in my life. And, just the pandemic and all the isolation that's come with that, that's its own trauma in itself. And, so the combination of all these factors, I've certainly gone through periods where I've been depressed and I felt hopeless. So to see Spider-Man, a character that I've looked up to my whole life, a character that I've kind of idolized, to see this version of Spider-Man go through something that is so similar, not necessarily in what happened to him, but just in the way that he's feeling and the way that, maybe he felt like giving up or he felt helpless or hopeless and he was just grieving through so much loss. To see a character that I look up to like that, that helps me still feel good about myself, that there's still there's still a way through it. And when he listens to Gwen's speech, that's really the catalyst for him that he needed to find hope again and to become Spider-Man again. And so for me, that gives me hope too, that there's a path for me. So when I've been in my lowest points, I would watch this clip, but it always picks me up. It always gives me that hope when I'm feeling hopeless, because it worked for Spider-Man, and that gives me hope that it can work for me. And it helped me still feel like I could connect to that character, even though sometimes I don't, feel the same connection that I used to feel, because I don't feel as strong as I used to feel, even though I know that that's not true. But for me, that's just been really powerful. At the lowest points in my life, that gives me hope. And it gives me a sense of purpose because it helps me shift the perspective in knowing that even when I'm feeling low, I can still make a difference on people through my actions. I can still help people. So that's given me a sense of purpose through even the darkest of times. And it's also lit the way for me a little bit. And it's given me that hope, which has improved my resilience, and it's helped me get through some of those times. And, so I'm forever grateful for this version of Spider-Man for that. it's genuinely had such a deep impact on me. And I also want to give a lot of credit and shout out to Emma Stone and her version of Gwen Stacy as well, because it was her speech. She made it so powerful. And it was through their chemistry together and their connection together in those roles that you really feel that grief when, Emma Stone's character dies. And so both of them really just did such a tremendous job, and I'm forever grateful for that. And the amazing thing about how that was executed is that it not only allows me to connect to Spider-Man in low time and see a hero in myself, but it also demonstrates the value and the impact of hope. We see that when Peter finally does return to being Spider-Man, there's a young child who is standing up to the villain Rhino, and it was the same child that Peter Parker helped earlier in the movie, right? And so this child was inspired by Spider-Man and the way that he stood up for him, and that turned him into a hero as well. So even though he didn't have the powers of Spider-Man, he was able to stand up in the middle of the road against a crazy villain, stand his ground and stand for something. And it stopped, temporarily it stopped that villain, and it allowed for the time for Spider-Man to come back and to make his return. And so that really shows that hope is so powerful, because not only can hope bring a hero back into action and allow them to find the hero within themselves, but through doing that and through becoming hope, that allows them to then inspire other people who also become heroes because of that hope. So hope gives birth to heroes, and then those heroes give birth to more hope and more heroes. So it's a beautiful cycle. And I think that movie just executed that so tremendously well, and it's so powerful. And so I wanted to give it that shout out before Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. I just wanted to get that out there and really send thanks to that character, because it's had such an impact on me. And so I don't know if anyone else has felt any type of impact like that, either through Spider-Man or through maybe another movie. If there's any character that's been an inspiring influence for you in your life and has had a deep impact on who you've become or how you've handled adversity, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. So anyways, thanks for listening again, and we will see you next time.